I'm Kara Craddock, a registered dietitian who doesn't really like to cook, who is doing Project Pantry. I finished week 1 and I am going to talk a little bit about the things that I ate this week, some of the things we finished, and some of the things that I still have to work through, which is almost everything at this point. I mentioned in my first video, but my husband is in charge of dinner. So what he made this week, he made a green curry. We used up a box of tofu, or 1 container of tofu. So I think we still have 1 actual carton of tofu left, but we used 1. We used 1 of the green curry containers that we have. We have 1 more. He used up 1 can of coconut milk. We have 1 more. We also used up in that curry the fresh broccoli, the snap peas, and the celery that we had in our refrigerator. One night for dinner, I was supposed to be bringing food home from my job. I work in university food service and we had an event. I was supposed to bring food home from that, but we actually ran out of food at the event. So I wasn't able to bring dinner home. We just kind of scrounged. I don't even remember what I ate that night. Maybe I ate leftovers of that green curry. I don't even know. He also made chicken fried rice. So he used 1 of the containers of chicken thighs that came out of our freezer. He used some of the rice in our pantry. We are not going to get through the rice in this Project Pantry, and I don't intend to. We have a 25 or maybe it's even a 40-pound bag of dry rice that we got from Costco the last time I went. So we used some of the rice that we have that's open from our last giant bag, but we're not gonna get through all of that, but that's totally fine. We used rice that we have. I also used up for my breakfasts, I used up 5 of the protein shakes that I have. I think I have 5 more left. I used up the entire bag of 3-berry frozen berries that I had. I showed that in the last video. Those 2 things are kind of the base of the smoothie bowl that I made for breakfast last week. Then I topped my smoothie bowl with chia seeds and the trail mix blend that I like to make. We finished the big container that I had of trail mix. We still had 1 more small mason jar of trail mix, which we are almost out of that one too because we both really like it. I did not finish the chia seeds, the small bag that I have, but I'm getting close. But then I have an even bigger Costco bag downstairs that, again, there is no way I'm gonna finish by the end of whenever I deem Project Pantry to be over, because those chia seeds are gonna take me probably several years to finish, which is fine. They're dried, they last a long time. I'm closer to finishing up the chia seeds that we already have open. One night, actually last night for dinner, my husband made a tri-tip, which is beef, and that came out of our freezer, and he cooked that with Brussels sprouts and was there rice? No, there was no rice. We somehow grew 1 tomato plant. I think the birds must have pulled over some tomato seeds from our next door neighbor's house. It is October and we just have mostly green tomatoes that are growing, and we had 1 red tomato. So he grilled up that red tomato to go with our tri-tip. I mentioned in last week's video, if I finished my lentil soup before the end of the week, which I did, I would use up 1 box of goodles, and I combined those goodles with frozen broccoli and canned chicken. So I used up 1 can of chicken, 1 box of goodles, and some of the frozen broccoli that we had. And then, like I mentioned, that lentil soup came out of my freezer. It was the last container that I had left from what I made before my wedding. So now we are through the lentil soup as well. So all of those things came from the pantry or the refrigerator. The fresh veggies in the curry, I think, were bought technically for this week that just ended. So those aren't really Project Pantry, but everything else for the week came out of our freezer or our pantry. So doing really well so far. I did have to get a blood draw one day this week, and I'm perfectly healthy. I'll be happy to tell you, but I had to go in fasted and my blood draw wasn't until 9:30. So I was starving by the time I went to this blood draw, and I had to drive past my favorite breakfast burrito place on the way home from that blood draw. And it was very, very tempting to reward myself for doing my blood draw by getting my favorite breakfast burrito, but I didn't, because I'm doing Project Pantry and I had everything at home to make my smoothies. I also have frozen breakfast burritos here at home. So I did not let myself get the breakfast burrito, but I am pining for a Consuelo's breakfast burrito. But week 1, Project Pantry, we have so much stuff. It was pretty easy, but we are going into week 2 now, and I am, continuing to use some stuff up. If you have items in your pantry or items in your refrigerator that you need to use up, I highly encourage you to join me on this Project Pantry. If you just want to watch along, I will have another video coming up with some tips on how to use things out of your refrigerator without them going bad, and what I'm gonna prep for week 2 of my Project Pantry. And then on my last series, I asked folks if they had things in their pantry that they just were curious about how to use up. I would give them ideas, and someone asked about beans. So I will also have another video coming out this week with like 5 or 6 different realistic ways to use black beans, pinto beans, white beans if they are hanging around in your pantry and you're not sure how to use them. Again, these are tips from a person who does not cook a lot, who really just puts things together. And so if you are interested in how to use up those beans in like low-key ways, I will have that for you as well. So subscribe if you want to see those videos. Give a thumbs up if you just enjoy hearing about what people are using up in their pantries, getting to the empties, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.